Alors, c'est pas moi qu'il faut féliciter.
So a huge work has been done. I would like to invite Hélène Floch and A.Pauget. They were on the film, and unfortunately, Corentin cannot make us because he is on his boat, so he cannot join us tonight. But Hélène and Ari are here. Corentin is with us, of course, through the thought that he's on his boat between Indonesia and Singapore. And we, however, succeeded in recording a small telephone call through satellite so that you could listen to him. And we're going to listen to him, and then we will ask you a few questions. It's not an easy moment for me. I am sailing through a strait. There is a huge traffic of cargo, so it's a bit difficult in terms of sailing, but it's okay. But you're on your own, on your nutshell, almost on my own. I took with me two chickens. They are quite afraid of waves. So I've got 2 chickens to have eggs on board the vessel. I did a lot of experiences on autonomy those last few months. Why couldn't you arrive at Le Havre on time? I wanted to arrive in Malaysia on the 15th of September, and we had some weather problems. It was very windy, and I lost a lot of time. And I'm really sorry because I really wanted to be there, and I'm really disappointed not to be with you. And apart from that, as far as the boat is concerned, could you test the boat during those 6 months? And is it resistant? Yes, it is resistant. We tested it for 6 months, aging test, UV, sun, heat, wave, wind, rain, all possible tests. And last time we met, it was before the inauguration of the boat. Can you tell us what you have been doing in the meantime? I left the Bay of Bengal mid of March and to do a tour within the Bay of Bengal. I stopped on a desert island, Nicobar, and I stopped on the islands in Indonesia. First experimentation on autonomy on sea, autonomy in water, in food, and that's the reason why I stopped on desert islands only. Would you like to add anything else? I would like to congratulate the whole team, the people who work on the project, because the boat is fine and I'm still alive. Okay, thank you very much, Corentin. 10,000 kilometers away from us, and it was not possible for him to see the film. You saw it for the first time. What do you think of it? Does it reflect your adventure? It's a wonderful film. Hélène? Yes, indeed. This is the atmosphere and the landscape and the whole atmosphere. It was important for the audience to be with you during those 2 years, the audience of LHFORUM. I would like to ask you a first question because people here in the room probably have had this question in mind while watching this film. How old are you? 25, 26 years old, and Corentin, 30 years old. And the others, younger, slightly younger, 24, 23 years old, and Matea, 30 years old. According to you, is it a handicap or is it an advantage to have generated this world first? I think it's an advantage because we didn't have any preconceived ideas, and therefore we are open to a lot of different technologies, and it allowed us to design an innovative process. And we can only say that it's an advantage, of course, because we had no obstacle whatsoever because of our age. And we are in Bangladesh, and in this country, everything is possible, whatever the situation is. So when you are 24 years of age, you can easily work with managers, industrialists, and it is very good for everyone. Do you think that the new generation carries all those values? We've been talking a lot about positive economics. Do you think that you are full of those values and you feel like embodying those values and you are the promoters of this new generation? Well, I don't know whether we are promoters, but at least we try to do our best. And we've been working on this project for 3 years, and we're completely impregnated by what we've been doing. So I think that we can carry such values, yes, of course. Harry, we spent some time with you in a place which was incredible. So we spent some time with you in this plant of Faripur in Bangladesh. And do you still manufacture fabrics in situ? We are no longer directly with them. We are now in the north of Dhaka and no longer in the southwest, as we used to be. We still have good relationships. It's been a bit tense at one point in time, but we completely changed the industrial process. And now we have a better, a more efficient process and a more environmental friendly. And we are setting up this in another plant. It's a bit difficult for the time being. And it is true that companies at the beginning are quite reluctant because innovation in Bangladesh is not part of the culture. And we have to bring about innovation. What you were saying here for the preparation is that the huge machine we saw gave birth to a much smaller machine costing 3,000 euros and which we could all use here to produce jute fabrics. Yes, we can use this machine, but it's a small machine and we are designing this machine. So we need another few months before finalizing the industrial process. But it is we are very close to the goal. Okay, and if I understand you correctly, you've been a bit disappointed by the reaction of those large families because you're promising to develop something which is quite innovative in a context of crisis, and you were a bit surprised by their reactions. Hélène, is that right? Yes, we were surprised, but it is understandable because composites and the materials we try and replace, they just start appearing in Bangladesh. There's a lack of knowledge of what we can do with this jute resource. But it does not mean necessarily that everything is lost because we've been working on that, on this communication, on this national communication, how to support industrialists, and we have to go and see local entrepreneurs and young people to see whether we cannot find this engagement. Because with a machine at 3,000 euros, you no longer need investors or large manufacturers. You may go and meet young people motivated to develop this. Yes, and that's why we optimize the process with those constraints. We are learning step by step that what we need is not necessarily the most efficient process with the best production capacity, producing kilometers of fabrics a day. But if we really want this process to be successful, and we need something flexible, easy to implement, not too costly, and with a minimum investment, initial investment. Hélène, you were in charge of marketing and communication for Gold of Bengal. Do you think that there is a market, an outlet for this new material?
Je suis convaincue et on en a des preuves.
Yes, it's a new material, and we have evidence that it's going to work because we got demands from individuals who want to build their ship in jute, or their boat designers who come up with the decoration items, kitchens or a bathroom in jute. Why not? So yes, there is a demand For the moment, it's coming from Europe mostly. But maybe this demand is going then to make it possible for us to have a broader market and maybe to apply it to Bangladesh. Now we still have to work on the offer side. So how does this work? They send you an email or what? Yes. They try to find our email address on the websites, and then they get in contact and they say, where can I get this? I want to build my boat with it. So we keep telling them that the only thing that they need is a little bit of patience. Yes, you understand. If you go to Hélène and Harry tonight because you want to make something, well, of course, we keep everybody's addresses and contact details. Yes, because the goal is to continue researching and developing on this material, especially the properties of this material, before you move on to the industrial phase, right? Yes, yes. I think we work on those two aspects at the same time. We want to support the industrialists, we want to do the technology transfer, and concurrently we want to continue researching to better define the material, but this is really something that we are pretty well advanced on. And also we constantly want to optimize it in terms of mechanical properties, in terms of pricing, in terms of environmental properties. We are also working on optimizing our economic and social impact at a small scale, on a small production chain. In the short term, how can we benefit to the people who are working on this? Because it's something that has a huge potential if developed at a large scale, but it's also interesting to see how tomorrow morning somebody who's going to start this journey is going to benefit from it. You said that you have to be very, very cautious. So I took my precautions also, and I used the conditional tense. I say we still have to wait a little longer to be sure, and you tell me that depending on the thickness of the resin, because resin is still very expensive. So for you, the next step is to find some organic resin. This is going to be your major challenge. And then once you find an organic resin and you have this natural fiber, so there you're going to hold something really interesting in terms of environmental protection. Yes, it would be the best. And actually, I want us to be very, very careful and cautious in our communication. We don't want to go greenwashing or anything, even though we're a very small company. But I think we really need to prove, to demonstrate that we have a benefit for the environment. There are high chances that it's a very interesting material, but now we have to bring evidence for that. We need to improve that. And of course, resin is one thing that we want to look into, but there are other things also. So, of course, we don't want to wait until we have the perfect material because it's composite, it's not perfect. It's a mix of resin and something else. It's not recyclable. We're not saying that it's the perfect material, but it's better, and that's already something, right? So you said this in the film, but I want to ask the question again, Hélène. Are you very proud of this? Because I think you should be. Because in your team, you really achieved this incredible challenge. Did you think you were going to make it, or did you have big moments of doubt and desperation? Oh, you can answer this. I will tell her about the doubt and despair. Well, there were so many hard times. Yes, there were a lot of hard times. This is why we're so proud. Because if it had been a bed of roses, well, it wouldn't be interesting, right? So in technical terms, we had bad surprises. In logistics also, because Bangladesh is the land of the unplanned. Yes, and also with companies, because they're not always open to something new coming from the outside. So sometimes we were working with a partner and we started to work with them, and then they didn't want to work with us anymore, so we had to step back. And it was very hard sometimes. But also there were a certain number, and a lot actually, of very good surprises, because I think that we all had this impression. We wanted to set up this project for research mostly. But then a lot of other things came on top of that. Partners who joined us, people who actually boosted the project and made it move even faster. So communication also was very important about this initiative, and this came on top. So we are proud that we accomplished this in 3 years. We have our partners who are also researching on jute fiber in the government, and they did not achieve what we did. So we are proud, and we hope to continue even more into diversification of jute. So if you had to do it again, would you? We would do it probably differently in technical terms, because there were a few technical glitches or mistakes, but we would, yes. Oh, yes. So the boat is going to go back to Bangladesh, and then it will soon be coming to France. What are your next steps for the next few months or years? Well, let's talk about the next few months. As far as I'm concerned, there's a research part, so I'm still involved in research as such, but I would like to continue implementing this production chain inside the local companies, because that's where we started, and it's really for them that we wanted to do this. And really, I want to go on. I want this production chain to see the light of day as soon as possible, and I hope I could be a client someday. Because seeing the number of people who are interested by the final product, I'm thinking that maybe I would like to make objects with that material. And about the project, as I said, there are still some major avenues for work, research, technology transfer, so this is really going to keep us busy for the next few months or so. There are other projects to come, maybe a larger prototype, and maybe the Gold of Bengal project might actually lead to other innovations in the same spirit, with the same motivation. The motivation is that it's really good to create synergies and to bring together the technical knowledge of the West and the know-how and the resources, century-old know-how of those countries, in order to have that kind of innovation that is good for sustainable development, because this can have a positive impact. So are you going to keep on working on the project, or are you going to move on to something else? Yes, I'll be around. I'll be around. Unfortunately, Corentin is not here. Of course, we have to say that he is the one who started it all, who brought the team together. And I would like to call a certain number of people who were involved in the adventure. I think in total there were about 20 people. Julie, Pierre-Alain,
Aude et Manu, vous pouviez venir nous rejoindre sur cette estrade.
Could you all come up on stage? I think they do deserve a big applause.
Ils ont tous fait un travail absolument.
They all did a tremendous job. You don't have a microphone, I don't have a microphone to hand over to you. We still have 4 minutes to take questions. If you have questions for the team of Gold of Bengal, I don't know if you have a roving microphone somewhere. Oh, you've got one, so that's good. It's a good start. Do we have a microphone? And could you raise your hand if you have a question to ask? A question that I haven't asked yet, that is. Sir, in the back there, we've got very little time. I'm sorry, make it short, make it quick. Because of course we could stay there for hours. Yes, good evening. Congratulations. We are here in Normandy. Flax is something that works very well here. It's a local culture. And it's very good quality flax. Do you think that we could actually apply your method to flax? Oh yes, absolutely. It's been done, actually. There have been very interesting works. Research and companies have already started working on this. It's really the same spirit. In shipbuilding, you see Roland Jourdain, who was in the film, he works on that flax-based composites. And his company is Kairos. Manu here works for Kairos, and they are our partners because we actually do the same. They're doing it in France and Europe, and we're doing it in Asia because over there the local crop is jute. We are not in competition with them, not at all. We hope to be all working together to develop this. Manu, a word about this? Well, we came second because our boat only came out in May, so they beat us, but we're working on it. We're very happy to work with them anyway, and we hope that this is going to continue for a long time. Julie, a word about this adventure? Well, I joined the project only 4 months ago. I'm one of the rookies. I think it's a very exciting project, developing an innovation in a country where everything is still to be done. It's a country that's starting to draw the lessons of some of the mistakes that we made in the West. And of course, it's not always easy to pass on the innovation, but I think that they're still very open. I'm trying to meet students there. And they're very enthusiastic about our project. They would be delighted to work with us. And there are still a lot of things to be done. And I'm very, very happy that I embarked on this adventure. Aude? Well, I joined the project in 2011, really at the very beginning, when we were still in Chavard. And I'm very happy to see that the project evolved quite quickly. You know, we went from a very experimental mode to larger scale production, and now the boat has come out. So I think that this is really full of hope for a new business model and new models to help countries like Bangladesh grow. And as Ellen said, what's interesting is the interconnection between local skills and Western skills. Pierre, you are like MacGyver. You always find solutions, even to a problem that would seem unsurmountable. So I'm surprised to see you here in France, because you're usually somewhere else doing something else. What's your lesson? You're a mechanical engineer. I don't know if we can hear what you have to say about that. Well, what I learned about was the impact on the social and on the environment. You know, I joined the project when I was just fresh out of school. I had no idea of what was social enterprise or whatever. And so when I saw the potential that I could have as an engineer, I thought it was tremendous. I don't want to work just to make money. I want to work for values, my values, which are dear to my heart, like helping people in Bangladesh. When you see the resources that they have, it's such a pity to miss that, while we have the technical solutions to help them. So I really want to continue with that. Well, and we hope you will. Louis-Marie, briefly, what's your conclusion? Well, lots of interconnections. There are 7 of us on stage, but I would like to thank other people. There was a conference on collaborative economy with Vincent Ricordeau, who is the co-founder of Kiss Kiss Bank Bank. So there are 82 people that we have to thank today because they were involved in the project, because we collected 8,000 euros for the construction of this boat. So you see, we are this group of young people in Bangladesh. We are using some technological tools. It was not always easy to have internet in Bangladesh and to actually update the Kiss Kiss Bank Bank. But we did it, and 82 people supported us from their homes in France or in other countries, and this is how the project could see the light of day. Yes, on behalf of LHFORUM and Shamengo, I really want to give you a big applause.
Travail extraordinaire. Vous montré que vous avez plein de ressources et plein d'énergie. Donc,
It was extraordinary. You showed us that you are full of resources and full of energy, and I hope that we will soon see you on another project just as exciting. Thank you all for your attention. Good evening, and I hope to see you again very soon with other Shamengo pioneers.